What's up, guys? Another video, another piece of plastic that gave me a dopamine high when I did buy it. But today we're looking at two Star Wars The Black Series Gaming Greats figures. These guys are from both Battlefront 2, the EA one. But we have the Umbra Operative, and I don't have him in my hands right now because he is showing up tomorrow as I am recording this. But we are getting the clone Jet Trooper, specifically the one with the 501st paint job. So I'm excited for when he comes in, and I was very excited to get the Umbra Operative when I could, because I know Star Wars fans are fucking crazy when it comes to Star Wars The Black Series pre-orders and all that shit. So anyways, let's get right into it. And for those who care, here is the back of the box with the description of our figure. You can read that. I'm not going to read it to you, so you are more than welcome to pause. But besides that, here's a beautiful illustration of our ARC Trooper. It's kind of hard to see his paint job because he does have black and orange for his color scheme, and this is a black and white image. So it is what it is, but for those who care, here's the back of the box. So first impressions, just pulling him right out of the box. Visually, he looks really good. I do have a bias though, because I really do like using this skin in game. It is my favorite because I really like dark color schemes because I'm an edgy fuck. But besides that, I just think he looks really cool. Even though he doesn't have a lot of accessories, there's a lot I can't wait to show you guys. So let's get right into that. So going over articulation for our boy, he can look up and down. It does feel a little limited due to the polygon, but nothing too bad. He can do a full 360 if you want his head to do a full 360. When it comes to arm articulation, he can get his arm up pretty much all the way without, reaching for the sky. But elbow articulation is pretty solid. You can almost get that full range of motion. And then when it comes to wrist articulation, it's pretty standard for Star Wars Black Series. Nothing too crazy, nothing loose in his wrists, so no complaints there. When it comes to torso articulation, you can do that side to side, and you can also do front to back if you so please. A little bit of all around in the torso, no complaints. When it comes to leg articulation, you're not getting him sitting in any chairs anytime soon. His legs can't really go up. Surprisingly, with the comma, you can get him on his knees, and I only say surprisingly because the comma is made out of a rubber rather than a cloth. And then when it comes to his calves, he can twist his calves if you want him to do that at all. When it comes to feet articulation, I was a little worried because his feet did feel a little stiff. I thought I was going to break them off, but you can have his feet move back and forward, so you can pose him pretty much almost however you want. So overall, articulation is pretty solid. So here is a look of our operative on the turntable, so you can get a good view of him without him being manhandled by yours truly. But with articulation, I do think that this guy has great articulation, despite the few limitations he does have because of his armor. You can pose him pretty much however you want to. Visually, I think he looks really good. I think his art paint job is very accurate when comparing him to the Battlefront 2 model, so very good on Hasbro for nailing articulation and visuals on this guy. Taking a deeper look into the figure, he does have a rangefinder that goes up and down, and you can keep it wherever you want for your displaying needs. He does not have a removable helmet, despite being the same sculpt as ARC Trooper Echo. Trying to look under the helmet, there is no face of anyone there. The comma is made out of that same rubbery plastic that Echo's is, and unlike Rex where he had the cloth comma. But despite it being that stiff rubber, it doesn't really hinder articulation in any way, so that's a positive in my book, because I hate it when accessories or aesthetics limit the figure. And then one problem I did have with this figure is his hands. One hand has the trigger finger, so he can hold his pistol just fine, right? You can see that his finger trigger goes right into the trigger guard, where on the other hand, there is no finger. His index finger isn't positioned for that, so he can hold the pistol. It just looks really weird, and that's just one thing that I don't really like. So I'm gonna probably have him displayed with the pistol on that side holstered. This is the one thing I do like from that one wave from the Spartan collection with the copy and paste hands. They had 2 dual wielding hands, so you can have technically an ambidextrous Spartan. But you know, this is Hasbro. They're gonna do their own thing, and by far this is my really only complaint about the figure. Despite the lack of accessories, he only comes with 2 pistols. I kind of wish he came with just like, you know, the rifle or the carbine, but you know, it is what it is. So I just want to take a moment to compare our ARC Trooper boys here. So there isn't that much different between them. They have the same exact sculpt. The only differences between these two is in their paint job and in their sculpt for the helmet, kind of. And what I mean by that is Echo's helmet comes off, whereas our operator, his helmet does not come off, and because of that, Echo's helmet is a lot squishier and softer, whereas our operator's helmet is a lot sturdier and harder. So besides that, there's their paint job. Obviously one is white, blue, and gray, where the other is black and yellow, and that's where their differences really end. Like I said, same sculpt, and I really like these sculpts too. I really want Hasbro to make more ARC Troopers. I know they made Fordo, but that was a Walmart exclusive, and scalpers and just really crazy collectors got their hands on that shit the second it came out. Like, I'm usually good when it comes to pre-ordering, but I couldn't even get one, and I am not ready to pay aftermarket price for that. I am not ready, because I already know, I'm already seeing the $90 checkout. Just it's gonna hurt, but you know, I'm rambling now. So yeah, these are our 2 ARC Trooper boys, and I really hope Hasbro makes more of these. I know that the vintage collection is getting more of the skins from the game, so hopefully we can get those in 6-inch scale. We can only hope. So that's about it for our Umbra Operator. If you do see this, if you're out, wherever you're doing, if you see it online, and you have the chance to pick it up, I highly recommend it. This is an awesome figure. I know this guy is hard to find. He sold out immediately when he was released on the GameStop website. So if you do see him, pick him up. He's got a really cool paint job, and the articulation is really good for a Star Wars The Black Series figure. So let's move on to our next boy. So here is our beautiful blue flyboy right here. Visually, he's looking good and making those first impressions count. Here's the back of the box with the description of the figure. You can read that if you want. I'm not going to read it to you. With a nice illustration of our flyboy. Let's open this bad boy up. Here we are pulling our boy out of the box. Still looking good as ever. And now we have a better look at that jetpack, and it looks really good. Really nice on Hasbro's part. And when popping our boy out of the tray, I got a feel for the head articulation, and I'm telling you, it is very good. And then we're just pulling the pistol out from the tape that's holding it in. I can tell you right now that the jetpack's only held in by 1 peg, and then there's those 2 kind of shoulder rest kind of things. I don't know what to call them, but the jetpack does sit in there nice and secure. It's not coming out anytime soon. And then he only comes with 1 blaster, which is his little pistol. So going out and feeling the articulation for this boy, head articulation is really good. He doesn't have a pauldron or anything limiting his head articulation, but he can do all kinds of swivels, look up and down all around, which is very nice. Arm articulation feels pretty good as well. He can't really get his arm all the way up to reach the sky when you put it up sideways, but it's all good. He can have some pretty okay elbow articulation. I kind of wish he can, you know, bring his forearm up a little bit more, but you know, he can still hold his blasters and everything, so it's fine. And then wrist articulation is actually really good. It's even better than it is on our operative boy. Torso does feel a little more stiff. I do have to say, when comparing the two, the operative has better torso articulation. When it comes to legs, it's a very mixed bag, because like his thighs he can bend just fine, and his knees are perfect for a Star Wars The Black Series figure. Then we get down to his feet, and for me, they were really stiff. Like, they didn't want to move, and you know, I thought that like they were just glued still or something. I was actually worried that I was gonna break his feet off. So you can see me here just, you know, struggling and trying to get the feet to budge. I know that his left foot was a little looser, but still just overall a very concerning thing about this figure. So giving my thoughts on our beautiful blue flyboy right here. Visually, he's outstanding. I don't see any inaccuracies from the Clone Wars Season 7 or the Battlefront 2 game. Just solid paint job, really good on Hasbro's end there. Articulation is one thing that I'm very mixed about, because of the whole feet being stiff, and just there are things that he does better than the ARC Trooper, but there are things that the ARC Trooper does better than our Flyboy. What I mean by that is the Jet Trooper's helmet and arm articulation is really good. You can kind of get them pretty much anywhere you want besides that elbow articulation. Whereas in the ARC Trooper, his elbow articulation is actually better than the Jet Trooper's, but like the joints at the shoulder and the head articulation, it feels very limited. Granted, that's probably because he has a pauldron on, but you get what I'm trying to say, where the torso articulation in the ARC Trooper is much better than the Jet Trooper's torso articulation. Just, you know, there are things that the ARC Trooper does that the Jet Trooper can't, and vice versa, you know what I'm trying to say. The feet, I probably just have to put my figure in some warm water, hopefully the joints loosen up, because I really hope this isn't an issue that everyone else is having, because if that's the case, that's a big no-no on Hasbro's end, and that's kind of sad. Another thing I kind of wish this figure included was the stand that the Rocket Trooper, the Imperial Rocket Trooper, way back when he had like a stand, so you can kind of pose him like he's flying, even though you had to put his foot in the stand. I kind of wish it came with something like that. I do have NECA stands, which do work for most Star Wars The Black Series figures, which is weird. You think if it works for one, it works for all, but some figures have different footwear than others, and fortunately enough, our Flyboy right here works perfectly with the stands. I do have him in some poses with the stand, so there is hope. I probably do need to buy a figure stand that with the claws, I'm trying to figure out what they're called, but I'll just have a picture put up. But probably have to buy one of those if I ever want him to look like he's flying. But these are my final thoughts kind of on the Jet Trooper. Let's go. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's keep it rolling. Because now I'm starting to rant about other things kind of unrelated about the figure. By keeping the ball rolling, I mean we're at the end. This is the end of the video. This is the outro. This is my final thoughts, verdicts, anything I want to get out while you look at the boys while they're on a turntable. And this is probably the last time you're going to see them, unless you own one already, then why are you watching this video? Or you go out and buy one after seeing this video or later down the road. But now I'm starting to rant and say a bunch of stupid shit. So, final thoughts, final verdict. So, what is my actual final thoughts, verdict, whatever you want to call it, on these figures? I highly recommend them. I really think you should pick these up. I think they are solid Star Wars figures. Clone Troopers are my favorite foot soldier in the Star Wars universe, so I really like how Hasbro is branching out and doing more unique Clone Troopers. That is like a wet dream of mine, because I know for the longest time Hasbro took their sweet time doing different types of clones and stuff, so I think it is cool to see these guys be released fairly close to each other. And I'm really excited to see what Hasbro does have in store for us later down the road. I know that my Black Series boss has been shipped as of yesterday of recording this. I don't know of when uploading this. And then I know Fixer was recently announced, and apparently he's coming out in a whole ass year, so that's gonna be a minute. And then that implies their whole, you know, Delta Squad will be announced sometime, hopefully soon. We'll just see a Scorch or a Sev figure, because if they're doing it commando after commando, that's gonna take fucking forever. But I'm now ranting off topic once again. Final verdict, get these figures. They're really solid, really cool, really unique. I really like what Hasbro is doing. If you enjoyed this video, please just, you know, like and subscribe. I'm not gonna make you I'm not gonna make you comment, I'm not gonna make you ring that bell, because I know the bell doesn't fucking work. So yeah, I only ask that you like and subscribe. Your view is also more than enough just to know that people are seeing my videos. So with all that out of the way, I'll see you in another one.